has 56.7% sugar. So in order to include it in his top 10 list, he had to expand that to top 20 sugariest, because in that list, dairy milk is only number 14. And there are fully 13 healthy snacks that have more sugar than dairy milk, which is really scary when you think you wouldn't dream of giving your child a bar of chocolate to take on a school trip, or to have as a snack in between meals, or to take to school in their lunchbox. But you would probably happily give them all these other products, and you think, God, this is the way that it's been marketed, that sugar is kind of added to stuff in huge quantities, and we just don't consider it to be unhealthy, because we've all been kind of sold this idea that fat is the bad guy and sugar doesn't really matter, apart from, if you're worried about your teeth. And who really worries about their teeth to the extent that they change their diet? Not many of us. So I'm not eating a huge amount of fruit at the moment for the same reason that I'm not eating anything else that's sweet. But also because as we were evolving out of the kind of caves and what have you, there wasn't a lot of fruit around. People didn't even fancy something sweet because we didn't taste anything sweet, really. And the whole problem is that we evolved so that eating fructose would not trigger the normal responses in our brains, because if we found fructose in the form of a berry bush or something, we needed to eat as much as possible and get it all on board and lay it down as a fat store, just in case we didn't find any meat next time we went out hunting. So we had a fat store there to keep us going. What the problem is now is that sugar and fructose are readily available and they're given to us in every meal. I think something like 70% of the food on our supermarket shelves has the sugar added already, that you just can't escape it. It is literally everywhere. So it's kind of that sugar that we evolved to lay down as a fat store immediately because we didn't get it very often is now literally under our noses and really hard to avoid. So it's really hard to avoid laying down that fat store, and that's what my problem is. That's why I'm stopping. Smoothies and juices. A lot of people think smoothies and juices are great for us. And juices, interestingly, reading about this, the book Sweet Poison that David Gillespie wrote is very interesting in that it goes into the history of how people started to make fruit juice, because we never had fruit juice until fairly recently. And when you look at overall sugar consumption and other things in humans, it follows the same trajectory as the availability of fruit juice in our shops. If you look at sugar content in those fruit juices, a lot of them have more sugar content by volume than Coca-Cola. We all know Coca-Cola is bad for us, so we all opt for fruit juice instead, and we're doing even more damage with that. Smoothies, similarly, are full of sugar. Dried fruit as well, a lot of it 70% sugar. It's really not the healthy option, but it's sold to us as that. And this is what I'm trying to get away from, is all these things that you think are healthy because the TV says they're healthy, the magazines say they're healthy, the packet says it's a healthy alternative. A lot of it actually isn't. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. So if you have read anything that contradicts what I'm saying, do please let me know. There are a lot of opinion pieces out there. A lot of people spout opinions, including me. But if you've read kind of a scientific article or document, something that can back it up with evidence that disputes what I'm saying, please do let me know, because I feel like I've read an awful lot lately and it all seems to be pointing in the same direction. I've not really found anything that disputes the idea that fructose is the bad guy. With quite so much, there's a lot of, oh, well, no, fat makes me fat, or for me, blah, blah, blah. There are no kind of large, long-term studies like the ones that are quoted in these books that can dispute what these books are saying. But so if you find anything, if you see anything interesting, do please let me know. You can Facebook me, tweet me, you can email me, you can comment on my blog post, whatever. I would love to hear about it. That is all from me for this week. I'll be back next week. Thank you very much for listening.
Kiss me, Mummy. Kiss me, Mummy. Kiss me, Mummy.